How you doing, Robert? Same shit on my channel. It won't connect. So that's it. I had enough. Okay, that was a great suggestion I got from somebody on email. Do all the talking towards the end of the lesson, conversations. I really enjoy. I think that's a clever thing. I don't know why I didn't think of it. Anyway, we're going to be working with triplets. Okay, triplets. Two different ways to do them. Now, did you have any questions about this afternoon's lesson? Because I want to wait for a few students to come in. You have any questions on it this afternoon? Joe, how you doing? You have questions. All right. Let's hear the questions. Joe, no talking until the end of the lesson. We'll have a conversation about anything you'd like. Uh, we're going to work with eighth note triplets, and we're going to work with 16th note triplets, all from Mr. Stick Control. No questions. Okay. Let's just wait for one or two more guys before I start the lesson, because I don't really want to repeat myself. Maybe we should start. Okay. We all know how to do eighth note triplets. Remember alternating the strokes? Now, if I took eighth note triplets, I'm counting 1, 2, 3, and a 4, and a 1, and a 2, and a 3, 4, 1. Okay? Now, that's no accents. Listen to it. All right. My cup's in the way there, huh? All right, hold on. What about it? I'm going to take care of it. Don't worry. You're here now. We're going to get the site going on. I'm going to change streaming companies, is what I'm going to do. It's going to take a little while, maybe a week or so, but in the meantime, we're going to stay on here, okay? Until it's opened. All right, now, eighth note triplets, no accents. Now I'm counting 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4 and the. No problem. No accents, nothing. So, I'm going to put accents where I don't know. Well, let's know. Let's find out where. Let's use the stick control book as a reference to play accents. So if I look at line 1, it's written 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. However, what we're going to do with that, instead of thinking of it as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, we're going to take that first measure and subdivide it into two measures. Instead of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, we're going to think of it this way. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I just made that first measure two measures. I made it quarter notes. So now, in the measure, the right is going to fall on the 1 and 3, correct? 1, 2, 3, 4. So now wherever I have a right, I'm going to play as an accent. I'll do that slow. It's 1 and 1 and 2 and 3. Got that? Understand where I'm getting the accent from? Hey, Jim, how you doing? Do we understand where I'm getting the accent? Yes? No? Do we understand where we got the accent? Need some response here. Again, the accent, the way I'm interpreting that, the accent's going to be on the counts of 1 and 3. Right, that's it, Robert. 1 and 3. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now, I'll do that maybe if you want to follow the book. I'm using it as a reference, but if you want to follow it measure by measure, that would be a 4-measure increment. What I suggest you do is just play eighth note triplets about a tempo like that and hit the accent on 1 and 3. Do it for a while. Now, question to you guys. With that interpretation, if we take line 2, page 5 of the stick control book, where would the accents be with the triplet? What counts? I don't know what you mean from the right, dear Horst. Where would the accent be on line 2? Need some response here. Where would the accents be on the eighth note triplets on number 2? I do not know what you mean from the right. I don't know. The accent placement has nothing to do with the right hand or the left hand. The accent placement has to do with the stick control book. Okay, let me give it to you. On line 2, the accent, there you go. All right, Hoist, very good. So we're going to do line 2. But notice it falls with the left hand. So I have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 4 and 1, 2. Got it? All right, Bob. All right, Dennis. Hey, Dennis, what's up? Paul, you're always late. Timeout chair for you. You have to be an example to your students. How would you like if all your students came late? All right, that's why I wanted to wait to start the lesson so it populates. Okay? Here's what we're going to do. Now, we did line 1 and we did line 2. We all know where the accent's going to fall. So let's go to line 3. With that interpretation, where will the accent fall on line 3? What counts? I'm counting 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 in there. Where would the accents fall? I'll wait. You're going to have to stay after class, Paul, so we could do some extra work, okay? All right, anyway, I got a few different emails today. One suggestion in one of the emails was really good. And it makes a whole lot of sense. Well, I don't know why I didn't think of it. No more talking when we're doing the lesson. Yes, you could ask all the questions you want pertaining to the lesson. When I complete the lesson, okay, then we could have whatever discussion you'd like. Dennis, it's not 1 and it's 1, 2. You're right. You meant 1 and 2. Okay. If you mean 1, 2. So I'm looking at line 3 and I have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Go to line 4. What do we got going on there, guys? No, Robert, just on 1 and 2. Not 3 and 4, just 1 and 2. See, you're thinking of that whole thing as a measure. I'm taking right, right, left, left. As I'm thinking instead of eighth notes, I'm thinking of them as quarter notes. Like if I interpret line 3 as the quarter note, it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4. So now the right is falling on the 1 and. Not the 3 and. You would be right if you made it the whole measure. But I'm thinking of it differently. I'm thinking 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's telling me now, not 3 and 4, Paul, we're on line 3. All right, here, let me explain it again. I'm taking the sticking pattern. Let's go back to line 1 so I don't have to review it again so we could get back on the same plate here. You understand this, Jim? Here's what we got going on. Line 1, you will see line 1 as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and no problem. However, we're not going to interpret that line like that for this particular concept. We're going to take each sticking pattern, the right, left, right, left. That's the first sequence of 4. So instead of me counting 1 and 2 and, I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4. Understand that? 1, 2, 3, 4. Now the second part, okay, of the first measure would be this now. Still 1, 2, 3, 4. The right is falling on the 1 and 3. So now, underneath it, I have eighth note triplets. 1, 2, 3, 4. So with that interpretation, I'm going to play an accent on 1 and 3 on line 1. So you have 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4 and the 1, 3. 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4 and the. Now we go to line 2. The first 4 sticking patterns, the increments, left, right, instead of becoming 1 and 2 and, I'm thinking of that as 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So my right is falling on 2 and 4. So now I have 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4 and the 1. Do we understand it? Jim's got it. Paul, you understand it? Dennis, Hoist, Bob, Joe. So line number 2 would be 1, 2, here we go. Got it? All right. Now let's go to line number 3. The first 4 sticking patterns, right, left, is going to become, how you doing, Randy? Is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. So the right falls on 1, 2, 3, 4. So the rights are falling on 1, 2. That's where the accents will fall. 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4 and the 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? Do we understand it? All right, let's go to line, let's skip a line. Let's go to line 5, all right? Now you take the first increment. Now the changes now, measure to measure now. If you take line 5, the first right, left, right, you're going to get 1 and the, 1 and the 2, 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4 and the. Do you see that? You understand where I'm playing the action. So the first, on line 5, the right, left, right sequence would be 1 and the 2, 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4 and the. Then we complete the measure, 1, 2, 3, 4, which is left, right, left. The right is only falling on 2. So here we go. I'm going to play that, just the second part of that measure. 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4 and the. So let me put it together now. You have 1 and the 2 and the. Do we understand it, gentlemen? Now, that's just the first part. You could do all the lines. If you want me to, if you're going to get confused, it's understandable. Now, I want somebody here, I have the stick control book here. Select a line from page 5 that you would like me to demonstrate for you, okay? Because we're going to go on to another platform after this selection. Good for you, Bob. Give me a line that you want if you're not certain of the interpretation. That's page 5 of Stick Control book. Good old Stick Control book. $11. All right, that's going to be on every other one. 11 would be, that's an easy one. Slow down. 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4 and the 1. That's easy, Paul. Line 5, 11 was easy. If I take, let me just go over 11 a little bit more. Let me explain it. Let me break it down. 11, you have right, left, left, left. So that would, instead of me counting 1 and 2 and, I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4. So the right is only falling on the 1, and it's continuous. So I'm just going to play the accent on the 1 every measure. 1 and the 2 and the 3. You understand that, Randy, Paul? Now, for you, Dennis, line 5. Okay, line 5 is the paradiddle. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. That's the way it's written. Now, I'm going to play that whole thing, but I'm going to do it in quarter notes. The first part would be 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So now, on line 5, the accent is falling on 1, 3, and 4. And the second part of that is falling on 2. So I have 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4 and the 1 and the 2 and the 3. You understand it there, Dennis? You want me to slow it down a little bit more? I'll do 13, okay, in a second there, Robert. Dennis, the first part, right, left, right, right. I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4. So now I'm playing underneath the eighth note triplet. So the accent's going to fall on 1, 3, and 4. You meant 14. All right, we'll get to it. All right, so let's play line 5 nice and slow. And if I take the second part of the phrase, left, right, left, left, the accent's only falling on 2. Now, I'd like you to understand this before I go on to another one there, Dennis. So line 5, I'm going to do it slow. 1 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 3 and 4 and. I need for you to tell me you understand it or you don't understand it. If you don't, I'm going to make it slower and I'll stay on it for a while. All right. I'll wait on your response, dear Dennis, whether you understand it or not. If you don't understand it, it's not a problem. I'll do it slower. Now, Bob, you want 13. Okay. Line 13 is right, 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 left, 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 left. No problem. So the first part of the measure, you're playing the first part, the accent on the triplet would be 1, 2, 3, 4. The second part of the measure is just lefts. So that would just be eighth note triplets alternating with no accents. So if I play line 13, nice and slow first. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Blah. Now I need a response from Dennis, and I need a response from you, Bob. Jim, do you understand it? Joe, you understand it? Randy. I did 5. I really appreciate if you would tell me. If you don't understand, it's not a problem. We'll do it again. Now the 13, Bob, do you understand that? And we'll move on to 14 if everybody's cool. You meant 14. Okay, line 14. All right, let's take the first increment there, that one, right, left, right, left. Okay? We're going to take the right, left, right, left. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4. No problem. That's telling me the right's falling on 1 and 3. So the accent's going to fall on 1 and 3. I'm alternating hands. Okay. Yeah, I'm alternating the triplets throughout. It's alternating triplets. I'm using 1 and 2, 3, 4. Right, left, right, left, right, left. 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I did that without the levels because I made all the volume of my sticks the same. Now, I'm on 14, okay? On line 14, the first part is 1 and 2 and. That's telling me there's going to be an accent on 1 and 3. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Understand that so far, Paul? Now I go to the second part of the measure, which is right, right, left, left. Now if you analyze this, you look at line number 1 on the other side, it's the same thing. The second part of the measure on line 14 is the same thing as line 3. So now I'm going to do line 14. One, 2, 3, 4. Got it? You got it, okay. I didn't hear from Dennis. And Bob, do you understand it? And I'm alternating my hands, yes. So before I go to the next platform, I need for everybody to understand this platform. Paul, Joe, Rob, Bob, Jimmy, Randy, Dennis. Where did you go, Dennis? Now, what I recommend you guys do is take this. You have it, Bob. Okay. Paul has it. Joe has it. Jimmy has it. What about Dennis? Randy has it, I know. Now, what I suggest you do is really work on it on the drum pad or the snare drum. Make sure the levels are there. If I'm going to accent 1 and 3, I'm starting here. 1 and 2 and look at the levels. That distinction, 1 accent, no accent, accent, no accent. And I'm always putting myself in position to attack the up-and-coming accent. Now, we all understand it. I'm going to go to the next platform, which basically is the same as we're doing now. However, it's not on one surface no more. All right-hand accents are going to say hello to the floor tom-tom. All left-hand accents are going to say hello to the small tom-tom. So if I did line 1 rather, on one surface, we already understand 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and correct? Now we're going to take that concept or that interpretation and we're going to play the accent. If it's a right hand and the accent falls on the right hand, it's going to be nailed on the floor tom-tom. If the accent falls on the left hand, it's going to fall up here. Okay, so let's do line 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Do it slower. 1, 2, 3, 4. You get something nice if I take the snares off. No, it's not short fills night. It has nothing to do with fills. We all understand it. Let's not go someplace where we're not going right now. We understand the rights on right-hand accents on the floor tom-tom. Line number 1 would be 1, 2, 3, 4. Got it? Line 2 now, all right, the right falls on 2 and 4. So therefore, it's falling on the left. If I go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and I'll do that again. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and do you understand where I got line 2? All right, let's do line 1 and line 2 over and over again. Nice and easy. I'm not taking the increments of 4 measures. But do we understand where I'm placing the tom-tom sounds? The right-hand accents on the floor tom-tom, left-hand accents, oh, Jesus, on the small tom. Do we understand that, gentlemen? Now, there's a few times, everybody says, it sounds like the same thing we're doing over and over again, but we're not. Every time we do a different approach or a different concept, they're all related. Okay? So they're not the same, but they're related. Everybody understands? It's a good concept. Now we're going to take, I shouldn't overlap this like this, but I'm going to. Because sometimes it's best to do that, because what's going to happen now, you're going to separate this. You have one interpretation. Okay? That's eighth note triplets. It's one way to practice it. However, now we're going to up it a little bit. We're going to put high octane in this. And instead of eighth note triplets, we're going to play 16th note triplets. Does everybody here know how to count 16th note triplets? And please step up and say yes or no. I do not use the form 1 triplet. Okay? And besides, once a student gets to 16th note triplet, it's more of a feel as opposed to a count. Okay, now I'm going to ask one more time. I need a response, okay? Does everyone here that's viewing the lesson know how to count 16th note triplets? It's a simple yes or no answer. Paul, you said yes, so I'm assuming that's cool with you. So I need Dennis and Jimmy and Randy, I know that you do. And Joe, I know that you do. And Bob. No, it's not a sextuplet. By no means. There's a grouping of 6 notes is a sextuplet. Bob does not. Bob, you're going to be very successful because you know why? You're very honest and humble. A sextuplet is a grouping of 6. And yeah, to a 16th note triplet is a grouping of 6, but there's a slight difference in sound, and I'm going to demonstrate that. If I'm doing groups of 6, I'm subdividing the count as 1 and 2 and 3 n. That's a sextuplet. Now, 16th note triplets are two groupings of triplet. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Even if I put an accent on the first count, it's not this. There's a slight difference. Do you understand that, Randy? You have quintuplets, that's a grouping of 5. Sextuplets, a grouping of 6. Triplet, a grouping of 3. I don't know what you count eighth notes or groupings of 7s. I have no understanding of that language. But anyway, there is a difference between sextuplets and 16th note triplets. A slight one, but you can hear it. Now, the way I approach 16th note triplets, I'm going to count eighth notes. As like, for example, I was doing, 1 E and ta, 2 E and na. That's not, there's nowhere as close to that, Jim. All right, let me explain. A lot of guys use that one triplet thing. They'll go 1 triplet and triplet, 2 triplet and triplet. All right, if that works for you, that's fine. I don't agree with that concept. All right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to play nice and slow. 1 and 2 and. Every count, I'm doing a triplet. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Well, you'll hear the difference, Randy. Sextuplet, there's a 6 notes to the quarter note, and if I'm playing the 16th note triplets from one quarter note to another quarter note, yes, there are 6 notes equalized between the quarter notes, but there's a slight difference in sound. Here's the sextuplets. Here's the 16th note triplet. There's a slight difference. Can you hear the difference? Can you hear the difference? It's not understanding the difference, it's hearing the difference. All right, we'll come back to that, Randy, and that's a very good question pertaining to the lesson. Now, counting the 16th note triplet. There's only 2 ways that I know how to count a 16th note triplet. All right, that's the first way I demonstrated was 1 triplet and triplet, 2 triplet and triplet. And that's not incorrect. That works, but it does not work for me. I do not like that method or that system. So what I do, if I'm going to play 16th note triplets, I count eighth notes. And I hit a triplet per count. 1, that's 1 triplet, and 2 and 3 and. Do you understand that, gentlemen? Because we're going to take, it's a slight difference. It's not a big difference, but there's a slight difference of feel. 1 and 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1 and 2 and. Stick wants to hit me. Anyway, here's what we're going to do. That's how we're going to interpret 16th note triplets. So if I play just straight 16th note triplets, starting with the right hand, I'm going to count eighth notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now, I said we're going to take that accented triplet to another platform. At first, you learned it 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4 and the subdividing the measures. Now, you're going to look at the line, and you're going to say, okay, it's one measure, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. You look at the first line, the right hand falls on 1, 2, 3, 4. So now, I'm going to play my accent on 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, we need a bunga. 1 and 2 and. You are playing the triplet this almost the same way you're playing the first approach, but the feel is a lot different because now you have more notes to get in between the quarter note equally. So now I accented the counts of 1, 2, 3, 4. So I have now 1 and 2 and got it? I go to line number 2. The right hand falls on the ands. So therefore, all of the accents are going to be on the ands. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Well, no, not a total of 12 beats. No, not at all. Well, however you do it, Jim, and I'm going to get to that in a minute, Bob. I'm thinking 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now, from the distance from 1 to 2, there's 12 strokes, not beats. There's 2 beats. 1 and 2, now the triplets, and 1 and 2 and 1 to 2, there was 12 beats. 6 and 6. If I go to 4, that would be 12 beats. No, 12 strokes. That's what you meant? 1 and 2 and 6 and 6 is 12. It's 24 beats. 1 and 2 and 1 beats. From 1 to 2 is 12 beats. From 3 to 4 is another 12 beats. That's 24. 1 and okay, I'm not going to go any further with that, okay? I am going to take that. Let's do a couple more lines. Let's do line 3. You have right, right, left, left, right, right, left, left. So now the accent is going to fall on 1 and 3 and, while underneath is the 16th note triplet. 1 and 2. Here you go. 1, 2. Now we go. 4. It's hard to talk and do this shit, believe me. 1 and 2 and. Got it? So now I put the accent on the 1 and 3 and. Nice and slow. 1 and 2 and. Now, you could do the same concept with the toms. All right-hand accents falling on Mr. Floor tom-tom. All left-hand accents, when you come to a left, it doesn't matter whether you're interpreting right, right, left, left from the stick control book. If an accent falls on your left, you're nailing the small tom-tom. Mr. Big tom-tom, Mrs. tom-tom, okay, whatever you want to call it. So now, we're going to do line 1. Let's do line 3. On 1 surface, then I'm going to go to 2 surfaces. Okay, so now we have 1 and 2 and 1 surface. This left hand just froze on me. Jesus Christ. Oh, man. Ouch. It is getting better, but I'm losing a lot of control, and it's coming back. Do we understand that? I didn't realize it's that late. My goodness. Do we all understand it? I'm going to close down. I'll be back tomorrow at 1 p.m. on YouTube. What I'm going to do as soon as we finish this lesson, I'm going to get on the phone and I'm going to scream bloody murder, man. Okay? I'm pissed off right now. It's not a good feeling. It's not a good place for me to be. But I'm sure that you gentlemen understand only because of the fact that my streaming company keeps screwing up on me. And it's not me. I was on the computer at work last night. Now it's not working. So it's not my computer, and it's not, it's got to be the streaming company. We all understand it. Now, I just want to talk a little bit, a couple minutes before I sign off. If you guys remember me telling you, March the 1st, I'm having a sort of a round table kind of thing, all right? Yes, it is, Dennis, okay? I don't have the book in front of me, but I'll get to you in a second. Let me put out the thoughts here. On March the 1st, I'm having a round table. First off, the name of the broadcast will be The Memories of Joe Morello. Now, there's going to be Alan Herman here, who is a former student of Joe Morello. Steve Forrester, who is a former student of Joe Morello. And Jeffrey Johnson, if you want to call him that, whatever he prefers. All right, he's the author of the Level System, and myself. That's going to be four of us talking about our memories with Joe, what he's taught us, our relationship with him, and how we come. That's March the 1st. It's going to be on YouTube. All right, now let me tell you about, I've come to make all kinds of phone calls, all kinds of emails, and we will be giving away prizes, door prizes. And how that works is when you come here and view the lesson, as you enter the chat, I will give you a number. For example, say it was tonight. So we have Paul, Dennis, Randy, Bob, and Jim, and whoever else is here. So Paul comes in. I say, hey, Paul, what's up? You're number 1. Okay, Randy comes in. You're number 2. However many guys come in, fine. And I take a piece of paper, put it in a hat with your number on it. So in the course of the lesson, I take, one of us will draw from the hat, and whatever we're giving away at that particular moment, you will win. Okay? And I will pick up the shipping. So, for example, if you want a drum head, I'd send it to you. If you want a book, I'd send it to you. Now, I talked to a few people, and like I said, phone calls and emails. We have sponsors for this. Zildjian, Vic Firth, Peisty, who else? Alan Herman, his CDs. Jeffrey Johnson, his books. Steve Forrester, his books. And my books. Not the formula book. I will give out PDFs for that. And I was just talking to Hudson Music. Now, you know who Hudson Music is. He's the one that does all the publications of all the drummers. He's located in New York City. He was associated with Drummers Collective. He's published Joe Morello's Master Studies 1 and 2. We will be giving that away. Joe Gandis from Drum Talk Radio we'll be giving a few T-shirts, maybe coffee mugs or whatever away. Innovative Percussion, a couple pairs of drumsticks. Whatever they send me, I'm gonna give away whoever wins. How's that sound, guys? It's March the 1st. The time has not been set yet, and I'm worried about a little problem here because Alan Herman is in China right now, and he can't take a plane from China to the U.S. He has to go to Japan through customs and come through, California, wherever he goes. Who is this retired guy? Who's the retired guy? You've been here all the time and you don't say anything? It's on a Sunday. It's March the 1st. A time has not been set yet. If you want, a retired guy, if you want to get on my mailing list, email me and we will get to you all the week's agenda, the times, and location. Okay? How's that sound, gentlemen? You like that? Let me give you my first off, retired guy. This is your first time here. I'm going to give you my email. You don't have to track me. Just get on my mailing list and you'll be notified. If you're on my mailing list, you'll get the week's agenda and maybe some PDFs. Or if you want to purchase a workbook, that's fine as well. All right, but get on the mailing list so you understand it. Anyway, I think it's going to be a really nice day. I don't know exactly what time yet, so the time will be announced. I've got a couple weeks first. I got to get together with everybody. I don't know if you guys understand how difficult it is to get 4 guys in the same room at the same time on the same day. It's tough. And I spanned it out. Everybody agreed to March the 1st. As far as the time is concerned, it's not posted yet. All right, so I don't know. Somebody's coming from Richmond, Virginia. One guy's coming from Atlanta, Georgia. The other guy's coming from New York City. And I'm here all by myself. Okay, so it's going to be a really nice day. And we'll tell you a whole lot of stories about our individual relationships with Joe Morello. Great guy, man. And like I always profess, there is no such thing as the best or the greatest. But I'll tell you what, I've been playing drums for a long, long time, and I had the privilege of sitting next to Joe Morello, and I want to tell you something. My God, what a set of hands on that guy, and what knowledge. And I'm not going to label him. He does what he does, and I would say, I'm not going to say the best or the greatest, okay? He is who he is, and he did what he did. And what the funny part about Joe Morello, with these other drummers out there, yeah, I studied with Joe Morello too. Well, that's cool. And you go find out they only have one lesson. Okay, that's cool. But don't go around saying you study with him. To really study with him, then you got to be intense with that man. And you had to study with him, consistently, or take a break, and then more consistently for a long period of time. The man was a walking book of knowledge, man. There's one drummer in particular. He is the biggest friggin' joke in the drum community. And he's very visible, very known, and believe it or not, everybody likes him because they think he's doing something great. I don't know, they call him the ambassador or something. And he was the guy that was on the phone with me because I said there was a comment posted in one of my drumming groups that, if you had a teacher, who would you like to study with? And his name was mentioned. And I commented back. I said, I'd stay away from him. And boom, did the whole fireworks start. He even got on the site and said, that's not cool. Well, I don't know if that's cool or not, and I don't give a shit if it was or not. It's how I feel. You believe that sucker called my house 3 times that day. And I think you guys know who I'm talking about. And he said he studied with Joe Morello. You know what? The truth of the matter is, I know Joe so well, and I know his dealings. This man only studied 3 lessons. 3 lessons, and he tells me 9 years. What does that tell you about his credibility? Shit like that pisses me off. And as a matter of fact, I just had a conversation with Rob Wallace. He's the publisher from Hudson Music. And he laughed. But hey, you're in business. It's commercialized, some of it, unfortunately. They take the art form away because it's commercialized. And they see somebody who has that kind of personality to come in front of the drum community and, bring money to whatever the product is. I'm sure that he did, Dennis, I'm not certain. You know, I never really asked him that, but I know he's played with some extremely heavy-duty cats. I mean, really. Where he got himself onto the map was with Brubeck, Dave Brubeck. He was with Dave Brubeck all over the world 5 times. And his stunt with Brubeck was for 12 years. That's a long time. And we used to talk about that, and we will talk about it June the 1st. And it's going to be very interesting because as close as I was to Joe, Steve Forrester, out of all of us, was the closest. Because he was one of Joe's rides, so to speak. But he's an excellent drummer. That's beside the point. He would pick Joe up from his apartment, take him to the studio, pick up Joe from his apartment, and take him to the gig. So they were pretty close. They knew each other for a very, very long time. As a matter of fact, Steve Forrester and Jeffrey Johnson was at a drum clinic I did, a tribute to Joe Morello with Bill Maglarini. That's Tiger Bill, if you know who that is. And there was John Riley and Steve Fiddick. It was a great day. It was really nice. And there was no competitiveness at all. It was just a happy kind of flavor in the whole place. The questions were pretty. The answers were great. But there was no giveaways like me. Okay, guys, I'm on the phone. Okay, any questions? Now, this was a little bit better tonight. There was no conversation going on during the instruction. I kept it to the back of the lesson. Now, would anybody want to talk? Go for it. Boom, ba-dum, boom, ba-dum, ba-dum. Hello, Federal. Oh, I am. I will. I had enough. This bullshit. I'm trying to hold on to what I have. I charge people for the site, and I can't broadcast from there. And I'm paying them. Don't think so. Who's this, Jimmy? Well, Jimmy, you said short fills. I don't know what a fill is. I mean, according to Webster's dictionary, to fill. You have an empty hole, you fill it with dirt, you fill it with garbage, you fill it with something. That term, fills, it should be fill-ins. Or if you're going to play a pattern, it should be a lead-in to the melody or part of the melody. But, you know, that's where I keep saying to everybody that the language in drumming or music itself should be international. You know, I see these posts, what these videos say, snare, kick, kick, snare. What in the world is that? That's not musicality, man. That's an insult to one's intelligence. And that's not teaching. Do we agree with that, gentlemen? You know, I'm the kind of guy who said, you know, I love all the drummers of the world. I really do. I respect that. Because it's hard work. Who is this? No, it's not semantics, Joe. It's not fills and fill-ins. Lead-ins. It's not semantics. You know, I'm not going to argue about that. I just think that it's like the molar system compared to the Stone system to the Adler system. It's not semantics. It's a fact. Bars is now that's good. See, that's a good one. Bars and measures. You have one measure, not one bar. A bar is what separates the measures. There's where the international. You know, you look at a sheet music, you see the staff, and you see 4 measures of 4/4 time. Now, you see the straight up and down lines, they're separating each measure. So a bar is a line, a bar line. A measure is the distance between two bar lines. Got it, Joe? It's not semantics. It's fact. I got to stop ranting. I got to get on the phone. Listen, guys, I'll see everybody tomorrow. Okay? Gentlemen. Email me with some questions or some requests, and we're going to continue on the triplets tomorrow. So if you have any problems with them tonight, when you practice them or tomorrow, let's talk about what the problem is. Retired guy, you're welcome here anytime. GN, good night to you, Jim. Night, night. See you tomorrow. I should wear my polka dot pajamas. Good night, Hoist. Hoist, why don't you email me? I want to talk to you. If that's okay, all right? Email me right after the lesson. I have to say something to you. Okay, guys, have a good night.